Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're jumping into a single, really fascinating source. A deep spiritual reflection that was delivered on the very last day of 2025.
Right, the final day.
And whether you're, gearing up for a big strategy meeting, or maybe you're just trying to catch your breath after a chaotic year, this material offers some, surprising and pretty non-traditional insights into leadership.
It really does. The reflection was given by Pastor Hu Zikong, and it draws very heavily on the work of Warren Wiersbe, specifically his teachings on Paul's epistles to the Corinthians.
Okay, so while the context is theological, and we should be clear about that.
Absolutely.
The framework it provides for looking at, say, organizational problems, the limits of our own ambition, and this need for an external direction, it's just profoundly useful for any leader.
I think so.
So our mission today is to pull out the core lessons that get at this central paradox that he presents. Why do organizations, or even individuals, with immense resources and talent, so often fail because of internal friction?
It's a huge question.
So we're going to be extracting insights on leadership, managing resources, and a very specific concept of vision. The core argument here seems to be that if you want a successful 2026, the lessons have to start with character, not just cash flow.
Well said.
Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with what I think is a cautionary tale for modern success. The speaker, he immediately sets up this really vivid analogy. He compares the ancient Corinthian church to a modern large-scale enterprise.
Yeah.
What was it about that community that makes it such a relevant parallel for corporations today?
Well, it wasn't just about the size. It was about privilege and potential. The source describes the Corinthian church as very wealthy.
Okay, so they had money.
They had money, but it was more than that. They were extraordinarily rich in skills and talent and all kinds of resources. If you picture a modern company, think of a top tech firm. Or maybe a really well-funded nonprofit.
The kind that has unlimited capital and recruits the best people in the world?
Exactly that. On paper, they should have been unstoppable.
So, a startup stream, basically. But the picture the source paints is that this powerhouse was, in fact, incredibly dysfunctional.
Precisely. And that's the Corinthian paradox. Despite this immense pool of wealth and talent, the organization was just. It was completely plagued by internal strife.
Strife how?
The speaker really focuses on internal divisions and factions. It was a place where everyone was taking sides, building up their own silos, and, working against the common mission.
Out of ego or loyalty to one person over another.
Yes. And to make it even worse, he points to explicit examples of serious, disheartening corruption inside the community at that time.
So isn't that just a classic motivational speech, though? Failure comes from within. Where's the actionable insight here beyond just look inward?
I think the insight is in the diagnosis. The material argues that resources and talent, they're only force multipliers.
Right. They amplify what's already there.
Exactly. If your foundational culture is broken or fractured, if the internal politics are more important than the external goal, then all those resources, they just accelerate the failure. They don't prevent it.
So the takeaway for you, the listener, is what?
It's crucial. It means before you go looking for another round of funding or before you hire another star performer, you have to audit your internal relationships. You have to look at the ethical foundation. Because if you don't fix the division, you're just paying more people to fight each other.
That focus on the internal leads us right into the speaker's thoughts on personal ambition. He challenges this modern reliance on the self, pushing for a shift away from making the individual the center of life.
He does. The reflection really outlines the standard playbook for modern success, the playbook so many of us try to follow.
Which is?
Relying only on personal efforts.
Sure.
Getting advanced degrees, working overtime constantly, aggressive networking to expand your contacts, and focusing only on achieving good performance, good results. The source calls it Yiji.
That list covers, 90% of what you learn in business school?
Pretty much.
But after listing all of those things, all those boxes to check, the speaker poses this deeply personal and I think challenging question to the listener. After a whole year of striving in 2025, were you genuinely filled with contentment, or was your year actually dominated by anger or unease?
And that tension is the whole point. The personal efforts, they might deliver the results, but maybe not the fulfillment. And then he broadens the scope to these bigger systemic issues.
Right, he says individual effort alone just isn't enough to solve large-scale problems.
He uses the context in Taiwan in 2025 as an example. He observes that while life might seem, not bad on the surface, the country is facing systemic chaos.
Chaos where?
Across multiple critical sectors. He names national affairs, the judiciary, the legislature, basically all the big institutions.
So he's using that kind of complex governmental dysfunction to make a point.
Exactly. The point is that the wisdom you need to fix these deeply chaotic issues has to come from a source that's higher than just personal ambition or just working harder.
If smart, hardworking people are running things and it's still chaotic.
The problem isn't a lack of effort, it's a lack of perspective. And to show a different way, a counter strategy, he talks about his own media work, specifically his podcast and YouTube channel, The Huyin de Bing Xiang.
What's interesting there is how he says the mission is not about the metrics. He's very clear. The focus is spreading the message, not the subscriber count, not the data.
Right. For him, he defines that work as sacred work. It means it belongs to a purpose that's higher than himself, and it's explicitly not for personal fame or for profit.
Which is a pretty radical departure from the standard career track that's all about quantifiable results and networking for status.
It is. It grounds the idea that purpose has to come before your personal performance anxiety.
And this leads to what feels like the most critical concept in the whole reflection.
The nature of true vision, or Yi Zhang. We have to connect this to management theory. The source even cites Peter Drucker, the management master.
Of course. Drucker always talked about the importance of a clear mission, especially for nonprofits.
Right. And Drucker saw mission as a worthy internal commitment. But this reflection argues for something higher than even a worthy mission. This higher concept is vision, or Yi Zhang.
And the source material uses this English acronym VIN to describe it, which is a little opaque. Can we clarify what this ultimate vision really means?
That acronym, VIN, it seems to be the source's shorthand for this specific externally derived purpose. We can call it external vision. The critical difference is where it comes from.
Its origin point.
Yes. An ordinary vision, or yuanjing, is often described as an internal ideal, a strategic plan, something you design yourself, maybe even just a daydream.
Something you come up with at a company off-site brainstorming session.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this external vision, this VIN, is defined as a direction that is received from an external higher source. It's not wishful thinking. It's this profound sense of direction that often overrides your own logic or even your personal comfort.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me, because the historical examples he uses show the difference so clearly. It's not just personal strategy versus something else.
They're classic illustrations of external direction just completely trumping internal strategy. Take Abraham. He had no children, he was an old man, and he was living as a migrant in a foreign land.
Every fact on the ground screamed impossible.
Completely impossible, yet his vision was to become a great nation. This was an external direction that totally overrode his current, debilitating reality.
Well, the case of Paul is the one that seems most strategically relevant for a business leader today.
Yeah.
Paul had a clear plan. He had a strategy he generated himself.
A very logical one. He was traveling east into Asia. That was the smart move at the time. But the source highlights that Paul received what's known as the Macedonian call. It was a direct external instruction to abandon his eastward strategy and go west toward Europe. This external vision, this VIN, it completely overturned his entire well-reasoned strategic plan.
So for the listener who might not be operating on a spiritual plane, how do we translate this? How can a secular leader today tell the difference between a clever internal strategy and a true external vision, one derived from first principles?
I think the secular translation is about finding a purpose so fundamental, a why, that it becomes non-negotiable, even if it hurts your immediate metrics.
Okay.
Like, if your vision is internal, you adjust it when things get tough. But if it's external, if it's derived from, say, first principles of necessity or a moral imperative, it forces you to adjust yourself and your strategy to meet that direction. It raises a huge question for you. What are the unchangeable principles guiding your life or your company? And are you willing to abandon a profitable strategy if it violates that higher external vision?
Let's bring this down to the ground level now, to the unavoidable challenge of just relationships and conflict. The reflection acknowledges that friction, or mokat, is just an inherent part of working with people.
Yeah, you can't escape it.
Whether you're in a church, a corporation, or your own family.
And the advice starts with accountability, not blame. The speaker notes, no two companions are without friction, which is a diplomatic way of saying
it's never entirely the other person's fault.
Rarely, if ever. So solving conflict requires self-reflection, tolerance, mutual acceptance, and, this is critical, mutual forgiveness.
And he brings in that classic idiom where you can pardon the person, but then he elevates the reason for forgiveness. It's not just about social maneuvering.
Absolutely not. The source explains that the reason you offer a pardon isn't just social courtesy. It's not even just a functional way to get the team working again.
So what is it?
It has to be a direct response to the grace and the mercy and the forgiveness that you believe you have received yourself.
Wow. That completely reframes leadership forgiveness. It means your ability to forgive other people is directly proportional to the accountability you apply to yourself.
Yes.
You forgive them not because they deserve it, but because it's a non-negotiable part of the character you're trying to build as a leader.
Exactly. And this leads right into the teaching on humility, which he says is essential for a leader's integrity. The source highlights the teaching that one should regard others as better than themselves.
That is incredibly difficult advice, especially in competitive environments where comparison is everything.
It is. It fundamentally reverses the competitive mindset.
So what does that look like in practice? When someone else succeeds, what do?
It changes your entire reaction. When a peer or even a subordinate has a big success, the required response, according to this reflection, is to offer praise and blessings and to humbly learn from them. You move from competition to curiosity.
Instead of the toxic alternatives.
The very common human reactions, right? Reacting with jealousy, accusing them of boasting, or just dismissing their success out of your own resentment and defensiveness.
So the internal shift is from a place of defensiveness, which creates that Corinthian factionalism, to one of genuine appreciation and learning. And that internal shift is the prerequisite for any external success in the new year.
That's the argument.
As we wrap up this deep dive, the speaker summarizes the character traits he hopes for in the new year. Becoming the light of the world and the salt of the earth.
And these are really practical instructions for how to contribute to the culture around you. Being the light means bringing integrity and honesty into your interactions.
And salt.
Being salt means bringing warmth and care and making interactions delightful. Making life more palatable, more enjoyable for the people around you. The goal is positive contribution, not personal gain.
And there's a final warning against hypocrisy, using the negative example of the Pharisees. Instead of pretending to be good, the focus has to shift to genuinely learning and embodying gentleness and humility.
Right, because those are the only true antidotes to the internal strife and the chaos we see in the world.
The reflection concludes by advising you to appreciate the smooth experiences you had in 2025.
And, crucially, to adjust your heart and your mindset for the difficult ones that are still to come. It's about cultivating internal resilience, not just celebrating external wins. It's about preparing you for strength and clarity in 2026.
The power of this reflection, for me, lies in exposing that deep paradox. The resource-rich, super-talented Corinthian organization failed because of internal division. It validates the idea that the greatest threat to your success is rarely external. So if you now accept this definition of vision as an external call like Paul's dramatic, strategy-shifting decision to abandon Asia for Macedonia, how might shifting your focus from just accumulating more resources and aggressively networking to aligning with a higher external non-negotiable purpose? How might that change the way you approach conflict and strategy in 2026?
That's the question that dictates whether you build a lasting legacy. Or just another factionalized failure, something to truly think about as you move forward.